SpongeBob's most emotional episode finally explained. SpongeBob SquarePants used to be a master at blending absurd comedy with surprising heart, flipping from goofy gags to moments that felt weirdly human. But Ink Lemonade, a modern episode from 2018, stands out for all the wrong reasons. It's not just strange, it's so uncomfortably cruel, it stops you mid-laugh, leaving you wondering what happened to the show's soul. Before we dive into what it all means, let's break down the episode's wild, unsettling plot and figure out why it hits so hard. It starts with a setup that feels like classic SpongeBob. Patrick's running a lemonade stand on a sunny Bikini Bottom day, complete with a rickety wooden counter and a hand-painted sign. You're primed for a wholesome cartoon gag, maybe a mix-up with sugar or a wacky customer. But this isn't that kind of lemonade stand. There's no lemonade. Not even a hint of it. Instead, Patrick's selling water. Room temperature, sketchy origin, flavorless water. No ice cubes glinting in the sun, no lemon slices floating for flair. Just a jug of plain, sad H2O. It's such a letdown you almost feel bad for the customers lining up expecting a refreshing sip. Enter Squidward, dragging his trash to the curb, his usual grumpy self. He spots Patrick's pathetic setup and does what any sensible neighbor would. He calls it out. "You need lemons to make lemonade," he snaps, pointing out the obvious with his trademark sneer. This isn't the old-school Patrick from preseason 5, the lovable dim-wit who might stumble into a clever fix. This Patrick wouldn't know a good idea if it danced in front of him. In a rare moment of generosity or maybe just pity, Squidward tosses him a rotten lemon. Like, here, figure it out. It's practically a gift, the nicest thing Squidward's done all day. You'd think that's where the gag ends. A dumb misunderstanding, a quick laugh, move on. Nope, this is where Ink Lemonade takes a sharp left into weird, gross territory. Patrick, unfazed by the lemon's moldy state, peels a used wax strip from under his arm, yes, his armpit, and slaps it onto the lemon like it's a secret ingredient. He serves this nasty concoction to paying customers, who somehow don't notice they're drinking something that looks like it came from a horror movie. The first sip hits. Someone clocks the wax strip floating in their cup and the puking starts. It's not subtle gags, retching, the works. And because this is Bikini Bottom, where Squidward's house is the universe's punching bag, the vomit inevitably ends up splattered across his floors. Classic SpongeBob chaos, right? Except it's not funny, it's just gross, and it's about to get worse. Squidward storms out, ready to shut down Patrick's disgusting stand before it ruins his day any further. That's when SpongeBob pops into frame, sudden and jarring, startling Squidward so badly his cephalopod instincts kick in. He sprays ink, a black, inky blast, straight into a waiting jug. In real life, octopuses and squids release ink as a defense mechanism to escape predators. But here, it's a plot point. And here's where the episode shifts from gross to downright unsettling. SpongeBob doesn't flinch. He doesn't gag or question it. He tastes the ink. And he likes it, calling it delicious with that wide-eyed grin. This isn't a lemonade stand anymore, it's a twisted gold mine. Black lemonade, made from Squidward's fear, is about to become Bikini Bottom's hottest product. The recipe is simple but horrifying. Squidward only produces ink when he's scared, a reflex baked into his biology. For SpongeBob and Patrick, it's not a boundary to respect, it's a business opportunity. They see his panic as a resource, like squeezing juice from a lemon, except the lemon is Squidward's emotional distress. At first, they keep it small. A few jump scares, some creepy noises, just enough to jolt him and fill their jugs. The customers love it, lining up for this weird inky drink like it's the next big thing. Demand skyrockets, and with it, their ambition. They're not just pranking Squidward anymore, they're building an empire on his misery. Patrick cranks things up and it gets dark fast. He starts with a casual flex, revealing his internal organs like he's flipping through a photo album. His deadpan delivery making it creepier. Then comes the spider. Not a cartoonish critter, but a massive hairy nightmare dangling right in Squidward's face. If you've seen the episode, you know Squidward's terrified of spiders. It's one of his primal fears, played up in earlier seasons like Something Smells in 2000. Each scare pulls more ink, and each one gets meaner, weirder, more personal. The laughs start to fade, replaced by a heavy, uncomfortable vibe. This isn't slapstick, it's exploitation dressed up as comedy. But they're not done. Patrick takes it to another level, building a full-on haunted house tailored to Squidward's worst nightmares. Picture this, a tablecloth slithering across the room like it's alive, a warped starfish baby with a grotesquely long nose staring from the shadows. And cruelest of all, a setup forcing Squidward to confront his fear of aging, like his midlife crisis is just another checkbox on their profit plan. They're not just scaring him, they're weaponizing his deepest insecurities. By the end, they've squeezed him dry, literally. Squidward's not a water park or a factory. He's a cashier, a neighbor, a person. But to SpongeBob and Patrick, he's a production line. His fear churned into product without a shred of consent. Squidward finally catches on, realizing his so-called friends are profiting off his pain. You can see the shift in him, a flicker of resignation turning to defiance. If they're making money off his misery, why shouldn't he? In true Squidward fashion, he tries to take control, setting up his own ink lemonade stand. No middlemen, no haunted house gimmicks, just straight from the source black lemonade. His rules, his profit. It's his last-ditch attempt to reclaim some dignity, to turn the tables on a world that's been laughing at him. But ambition's a tricky beast, especially when you're running on fumes. Squidward pushes himself harder, faster, trying to keep up with the demands SpongeBob and Patrick created. He's not built for this. Nobody is. There's only so much fear you can turn into a product before your body gives out. And when it does, it's not a trickle, it's a catastrophe. The final ink burst is an eruption, a black flood that drenches everyone in sight, coating the same customers who were smiling and sipping moments ago. The second they realize what they've been drinking, Squidward's literal fear, the excitement vanishes. Curiosity flips to disgust. The crowd doesn't just walk away, they revolt, gagging, shouting, and because it's Bikini Bottom, unloading another tidal wave of vomit across Squidward's house. Again. Always again. He pushed himself to the breaking point, endured the pain, and ended up right where he started, in a pile of puke, alone. You'd expect a pause here, a moment for the chaos to sink in. Maybe a hint of guilt from SpongeBob and Patrick, an awkward glance, or even a half-hearted sorry to patch things up. But nope, they don't stop. They don't even slow down. They pivot, cheerful as ever, announcing their next big venture, cookies made from spider eggs. That's it. The ink era doesn't end with reflection or remorse. It's just replaced with the next gross gag. 10 minutes of public humiliation, emotional exploitation, and physical exhaustion, swept aside with the same bouncy tone SpongeBob uses for a jellyfishing bit. Except for Squidward. For him, it happened. He's the one left standing in the wreckage with no one to help clean up the mess, literal or emotional. Why does ink lemonade feel so wrong? It's not just another Squidward gets wrecked story, a formula as old as the show itself. The difference is the heart or lack of it. In early seasons, even when Squidward was the butt of the joke, there was a thread of connection. Take Can You Spare a Dime in 2002. Squidward loses his job, spirals into homelessness, and SpongeBob takes him in, feeds him, keeps him company. Sure, it flips into a gag about Squidward's freeloading, but there's a flicker of care. A sense that SpongeBob sees him as more than a punchline. In Ink Lemonade, that thread is gone, cut clean. SpongeBob and Patrick don't just stumble into hurting Squidward, they plan it, milking his fear like it's a resource to be mined. There's no empathy, no moment where anyone says, maybe we've gone too far. It's exploitation, plain and simple, dressed up as comedy. This isn't a quirky misunderstanding or a wacky invention gone wrong, like the exploding pies in Dying for Pie in 2000. Here, Squidward's fear is the story. His panic is the raw material, extracted over and over, sold for laughs without a hint of remorse. Even the spider gets more respect. Its eggs are offered willingly for the cookie scheme, while Squidward's ink is taken without consent again and again until he's drained. When he tries to take control, selling his own ink, the crowd loves it. Until they see him, then they spit it out, literally. When it's packaged as a fun novelty, they're all in. When it's tied to Squidward's suffering, they're revolted. It's a cruel twist. His pain is only palatable when it's hidden behind someone else's smile. The heaviest moment comes after Squidward's final collapse, drained from over-inking, soaked and trembling. The camera lingers on him. No laugh track, no punchline, just silence. It's not a setup for a joke. It's a void. You're left with the sinking realization that in this Bikini Bottom, no one's on his side. The crowd vomits on his floor and walks away. SpongeBob and Patrick move on to their next scheme without a glance back. Squidward's not just the butt of the joke. He's expendable, a resource to be used up and tossed aside. Why is Ink Lemonade so emotional? It's not just the gross-out gags or the over-the-top chaos. It's the hollowness. Modern SpongeBob often feels like it's cranked the volume to 11. All the noise and no heart. Early seasons could be wild, even mean-spirited at times, but they balanced it with moments of connection. Think of Something Smells in 2000, where SpongeBob and Patrick's bad breath makes them outcasts. But they stick together, finding joy in their shared weirdness. Even at Squidward's lowest, like in Club SpongeBob in 2002, there's a nod to his humanity. Flawed, grumpy, but real. In Ink Lemonade, that's gone. The entire episode treats Squidward's fear as fuel, and no one, not a single character, sees anything wrong with burning through him until he's empty. When it's over, everyone moves on, except him. This hollowness is why Ink Lemonade hits so hard. It's not just cruel, it's casually cruel. SpongeBob and Patrick's pivot to spider egg cookies, delivered with the same cheery tone as a jellyfishing adventure, mirrors how the show itself has shifted. The quiet, emotional beats that once grounded the absurdity, like SpongeBob's tearful speech in Pizza Delivery in 1999, are nowhere to be found. Instead, we get 10 minutes of relentless exploitation, capped with a smash cut to the next gag as if Squidward's pain never happened. It's a stark contrast to the SpongeBob that could make you laugh at misfortune while still caring about the characters caught in it. Why does this episode matter? It's not about clinging to the good old days or hating change. Shows evolve, humor shifts, styles move on. But when a series that thrived on balancing absurdity with charm tips so far into cruelty that it forgets the heart, something vital slips away. Ink Lemonade lays that loss bare. The world of Bikini Bottom doesn't acknowledge Squidward's suffering. The script doesn't soften it. The crowd vomits on his floor and walks away without a word. Strip away the exaggerated visuals and shock value, and you're left with a portrait of isolation. A character who's been part of this world since 1999, now treated as disposable, drained for profit and left to clean up the mess. This casual cruelty changes how we see SpongeBob. It's not just about one episode, it's about what the show's become. Early seasons could be surreal, even harsh, but they left space for connection, a reminder that these characters were more than props. Ink Lemonade erases that space, leaving an emotional void where the heart used to be. It's not the grossness or the chaos that sticks, it's the emptiness, the sense that Squidward's pain doesn't matter to anyone, not even his supposed friends. The episode doesn't resolve. Squidward doesn't get justice or an apology. He gets a mess to clean up, alone, while everyone else chases the next big thing. Maybe that's the point, not in the story, but in what it accidentally reveals about modern SpongeBob. It's a world where empathy's been traded for escalation, where the noise drowns out the quiet moments that made the show resonate. That's why Ink Lemonade lingers, not because it's shocking, but because it feels like a betrayal of the heart that once defined Bikini Bottom.